Welcome to Southwest Florida Real Estate Update, hosted by local realtors Jim, Michael, and Morgan York of the York Real Estate Group of Downing-Frye Realty. Our show will bring you the most up-to-date information on the local real estate market, featuring the leading experts in the real estate field.
Welcome to our show today. Well, we have today the top hurricane claims attorney in the Naples area. How are you today?
Good, thank you for having me.
So Lauren, just tell us a little about yourself. I know we were talking off camera, you really specialize in helping people with their hurricane insurance claims that maybe they haven't been able to obtain. So, just tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, well, I'm from Naples. I've lived here my whole life, and I attended Ave Maria Law School in Naples. And I started doing hurricane insurance claims after Hurricane Irma, believe it or not, and I exclusively focus in that because so many friends and family reached out to me and they wanted to know, well, how do I go about doing this? What do you suggest I do? And I started to look into it, and I realized very early on that this was going to be a major issue for homeowners in this area, and all of Florida really, where they were going to be getting lowballed and delayed and denied on their insurance claims, and that they really needed help and they needed someone to represent them. So this kind of fell into my lap, and it's been going ever since. And unfortunately, there's still a lot of people that need help out there.
So before we got on set here, you were talking about your partners, or is in Houston?
Yep. So I'm with the firm Danzinger and Delano, and their headquarters is in Houston, Texas. Right. They were dealing with Hurricane Harvey, which happened right before Hurricane Irma, and their entire lobby was flooded. And they saw what was occurring in these huge storms that were coming in, and the devastating effect that it had on homeowners, and what the tricks the insurance companies were using to not pay. And family, friends, we decided to start an office in Naples, and that's what I'm doing.
Well, that's great. I know you're helping a lot of people. Yeah,
it's definitely a fulfilling job, but it is sad at the same time because we did get very lucky in Southwest Florida. We could have had major storm surge, and for the most part, we live in a resort town, so you look around and you think everything's cleaned up. There's no more storm damage, but there's a lot, and there's a lot of hidden damage. It's roof damage, it's leaks and mold in the interior, and it's there, and there's still a lot of claims that are open still to this day.
Well, before we get into the nitty-gritty of what you do, is how do people prepare before a hurricane comes? I mean, I think that's a key thing.
Right. So, obviously there's the things that you go out and get water, and you go out and you get wood, and your shutters go up. And that's all very, very important, not just to protect your home, but you have a duty to make sure that you protect your home under your policy. So you need to take those steps as best you can. And I know that it's a rush to Home Depot to get the wood and all of that, but you need to try to do everything you can to make your home as prepared as possible for that storm. But in addition to that, and this is something that a lot of people don't think to do, but I'm seeing after the storm that it's so necessary, and you should really go around and take photos of your home in the state that it is in prior to the hurricane. So take pictures of the inside, take pictures of the outside, even the roof. The more pictures, the better.
That's right.
And pictures of your belongings. Prove that you own them. If you can save receipts from here on forward, when you buy something that's, you spend a decent amount of money on, save the receipt. Just put it in a little file in your hurricane insurance, your insurance folder. Save the receipts. Take pictures of your electronics, SKU numbers on the electronics, and there's actually an app that can help you stay organized. It was developed by the National Association of Insurance Commissioners, and it's called myhomescr.app book. And you can actually download that and just keep everything all organized on your phone, room by room, what your belongings are. And that way, once the storm does happen, you have proof that these things existed. Because I've seen so many cases where people don't have that proof, and then when they file their claim under their personal belongings, the insurance company's not covering it, or they're giving a very low ball amount for something that the homeowner paid a lot more for. So that's just another really good way to be prepared and make sure you keep track of everything that you have.
Really, people should do that from day one, not
Yeah, do
not
it right
the day
now.
before. Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely. Do it right now. Just have those pictures on hand and what kind of state your home is in as well.
Are the homeowner liable if they didn't put the hurricane shutters up and they had them? You know, I mean,
It can
how's
be.
that?
It can cause problems if, you know, they knew a hurricane was coming and they had it and they failed to do it.
Because
it
they
can
couldn't
cause,
get people to put them up for them.
Right. It can cause issues. You want to really try everything you can. But, you know, in certain circumstances, sometimes it's just not possible. We have a lot of snowbirds that live here, and if they can't get down in time, we can certainly, it won't destroy the claim, but it can make things more difficult for sure.
Are you specializing when you do these claims or help people more wind damage or flood damage, or is it a combination of both?
Both. We certainly have seen a lot more wind damage in Southwest Florida.
Right.
We would have seen the flood if that storm surge happened, but it did not, thankfully. There are some areas that did get flooded, though. Don't get me wrong. There are certain areas where the runoff and the water, and they did get some storm surge closer to the coast. But we're seeing both, and we definitely can help with both as well. We can help with flood, and then we can help with your normal wind or homeowners policy.
And then after the hurricane has come, what do they do afterwards?
Okay.
What's the best
Right.
avenue for them?
Yeah, as soon as you can get down back to your home, take more pictures again. I can't stress enough how important it is to document all of your damage. Take pictures of all of the interior belongings, the state the home is on the outside, so then you have your before the storm and your after the storm pictures. Document it and make sure to leave it as is until you can get the insurance adjuster to come out to the home. I've seen cases where people throw stuff out immediately. Oh, well, this is drenched. I don't want it to get mold, which is, I totally understand. Mold grows, there's no electricity.
Right.
But hold on to them. Don't just put them outside to get worse, because then they're going to claim, you know, you have a duty under your policy to mitigate your damages, and you have a duty to keep them as is until you can get an insurance adjuster out there. But to mitigate your damages means prevent them from getting worse. So you also need to make sure if you have a leak in your roof, put a tarp on it. Don't just let it keep leaking and let the water fill up the house and then say, oh, now it's even worse. You can't do that. You could have major issues when it comes to filing your claim or fighting your claim in the future if you don't properly mitigate your damages, and that's included in your policy. It states that you have a duty to do that.
So if you got flooding or whatever in your house, and you know the water's come up that high, and people are cutting drywall off to a certain point, taking the furniture outside, that's okay?
No, you need to leave it the state that it's in for when the insurance adjuster comes to the home. They need to be able to look at it. They need to be able to see this is caused by the storm. They need to be able to document it. If you're going to hire a public adjuster, let them see it first before you start tearing things out as well. I understand people want to get their house back to normal. They want it livable. But at the same time, if they want to get paid for it, they need to show what was damaged, and someone needs to be able to take a look at it.
Okay, Lauren, we're going to take a little short break here, and we're going to come right back, and we got a load of more questions for her. We'll be right back. Thank you.
Thinking of buying or selling a home in Naples, Marco Island, Bonita, or Estero, Florida? Think of the most experienced York Real Estate Group, associated with the #1 brokerage in Southwest Florida, Downing Fry Realty, which produces yearly real estate transactions of over $1 billion. Jim, Michael, and Morgan make up the York Real Estate Group of Downing Fry Realty, with over $275 million in sales transactions, along with offering over 25 combined years' experience in the local market. The Yorks can offer the experience and trust you need in a realtor. Call them today at 239-273-6727 or visit their website at www.naplesyorkrealestate.com.
Welcome back. Lauren, I think we were just talking about person has, the hurricane has come, they're either buying or selling their home and they have claims. How do we approach that from a real estate standpoint when I'm selling a house or somebody's buying it?
Yeah, so right now obviously it's a great market. People are purchasing homes. Don't let that scare you away from buying a home or selling a home if your home has damage. You can certainly still do so. If you have a claim open, it's going to be best to hire an attorney to help you with that whole process. You need to give notice to the insurance carrier. You also need to decide if you want to retain the rights to the claim that you have open or if you want to transfer that to the buyer. And that's something you really need an attorney to help you with. But it is still possible to sell a home that has hurricane damage or purchase a home that has hurricane damage.
Assign that claim to the new buyer. If they haven't put a dollar amount, does that gets kind of tricky, or how's that? Or do we figure it into the price, or just
if they assign it to the buyer? Oh, assign the rights to the claim?
That's right.
Assigning the rights to the claim to the buyer would just mean that they can pick up with fighting the claim for the the claim that's on the home,
Right.
or they can just if it's already once it's completed, they receive the check.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then how about homeowners associations? That apply with the same thing with a condo association? Or
Yes, I
homeowners?
represent a few homeowners associations in town, and what I'm finding now, we're a year after the storm,
That's
and
right.
it's pretty surprising to see that a lot of these homeowners associations, they're just now getting around to filing a claim. And the reason that is because this whole past year, they thought they have high deductibles, right? These are their homes, they're usually condos, and the deductibles are quite high, a couple $100,000 if not more. And they thought that their damages were simply below their deductible. So a lot of them didn't even bother filing a claim. And there's homeowners too that didn't bother filing a claim because they figured it wasn't that bad. And as the months have gone on, and as you know, we have rainy season.
That's right.
They realize the extent of their damage, and they've had contractors who can finally get out to the home now telling them, you need a whole new roof, or your tile roof is discontinued. So with homeowners associations, we can certainly still help them, but time is of the essence. It's now, we're talking a year past
That's right.
the storm date, and even though it's not too late, it does make things much more complicated for homeowners associations and your normal homeowner or businesses as well. And we do loss of business income and stuff like that, but it's definitely not too late. You do have 3 years to file a claim under Florida statute.
Okay, so let's get into really what you do. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
So we've had insurance people on the show here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they usually, people start calling the insurance agent. Let's just step this through a little
Mm-hmm.
bit, but then they say maybe they call the direct. New York Life or whatever the company is directly, they have a claims adjuster. So how do you step in from there? I mean, what role do you start at?
So where I come in is when the insurance company has either lowballed, delayed, or denied their insurance claim.
Okay.
So initially filing that claim right after Hurricane Irma, it could take a few months. They finally get the adjuster out there, they do an inspection, and it comes back with either stuff not even on the inspection report, or they get a letter saying your claim is, your damages are below your deductible, or they do get a check, but it's a very low check, or they get a straight denial saying, no, this was caused by wear and tear, it's a pre-existing condition. There's numerous reasons that insurance companies will deny a claim, and that's where I step in. So right now, it's been a year. People are, at this point, really getting tired of not having their house back to the state it was prior to the hurricane. So they're starting to realize, I have to hire a lawyer. No one wants to hire a lawyer, but in some circumstances, you have to. And this is one of those circumstances. If you're still being delayed, you're waiting on a check, and they're giving you every reason under the sun as to why they're not sending it out, or they're not budging and giving you any more, and you have repairs to make, and you're just spending out of pocket, or you're unable to spend anything, it's really time to hire somebody, because as time goes on, it's going to be more and more difficult. Your damages are going to be getting worse. We could get another storm. The insurance company is going to use that against you. You had a duty to get this fixed, and you failed to, or mitigating your damages, all those things we spoke about.
That's right.
They're going to make it much more difficult the longer you wait and the longer you try to fight this on your own. So it's best to just have an attorney come in. We can do everything we need to do, whether it be filing a lawsuit or sending a demand letter, and really trying to get the ball moving.
So a lot of people accepted a claim for their roofs, and then it ended up being a lot more. Can they still go back to
Yes, absolutely. They can reopen their claim. They have 3 years to do so. So if you did accept a low ball offer and after getting the contractors out or the roofer, you realize, oh my gosh, this is a lot bigger than I thought, you can certainly call us. At that point, you really do need to hire a lawyer. And that was something else I want to discuss with you. I do get asked a lot about a public adjuster. What's the difference between you and a public adjuster? So public adjusters are great early on in the process when there's really no issues. They'll come out, they'll do a report, and they'll fight that insurance claim for you and try to get you the most money they can. However, now we're a year out. Now you've been denied, you've been delayed. The issues are just incredibly overwhelming as to what you're going to have to overcome in order to get coverage. So hiring an attorney is your best bet at this point. We are able to do what a public adjuster cannot, and that is file a lawsuit. So we can, if there's a case for it, we even have maybe a bad faith claim involved, and that's what really gets the insurance company moving and gets them to make some offers to the client. Public adjusters work on a contingency fee basis, and that is what attorneys do as well. It's not going to cost anything to hire a lawyer, nothing out of pocket. We will upfront all money, all expenses, and we get paid a percentage of any new money we can bring in. So any money they've already received, we didn't work for that. We don't take a percentage. It's only new money. But the difference between a public adjuster and a lawyer is that there's this important statute in the state of Florida that says if an attorney prevails or a homeowner prevails in a lawsuit and there's a judgment filed in their favor, then the attorney fees can be paid for by the non-prevailing party. Now, there has to be a judgment awarded in their favor, but there's still the possibility if we go that route and that happens, then our attorney's fees, the 33.3% contingency fee, will be paid for by the insurance company. That's not an option for a public adjuster. So that is one benefit of hiring an attorney that a public adjuster is just not going to be able to get.
And what happens if they hired a public adjuster and they're not getting anywhere with them? How can they get out of that?
Certainly, they can still contact us, and we can still help them. As far as their obligations to the public adjuster, that's something that they're going to have to deal with on their own. But as far as can we still help them, even though they hired a public adjuster, absolutely.
Okay. We're going to take a little short break here, and we're going to be right back, and we have a few more questions for Lauren, and be right back.
Thinking of buying a home located in a golf course community in the Naples, Marco, Bonita, or Estero, Florida? Here is what Mark Lai, former PGA winner, says about Realtor Michael York of the York Real Estate Group of Downing Fry Realty.
Hi, I'm Mark Lai. If you have any real estate needs in Naples, Florida, the one company to contact is the York Real Estate Group. Also, if you want a golf course property to invest in, Michael York of the York Real Estate Group is the guy to contact. Michael knows every golf course in Naples. I will tell you this, he's been in the golf business for a long time. He's played all the great golf courses down here, and he is an outstanding realtor. I've known him for quite some time, and he's he's got a lot of integrity, and he very much knows his stuff on all the different clubs here in Naples. So the York Real Estate Group is a great place to start. So if you have any time or anybody that wants to visit down here in Naples and look at the options out there, please contact the York Real Estate Group.
Welcome back. Lauren, let's talk about what they need to watch out for storm chasers.
Yeah, so I do get a lot of calls from the local community who have just an array of problems. Oh, I contacted this restoration company or this mold company or contractor, roofers, you name it, who came in right after the storm, got them to sign a contract, they gave them some money, and they've disappeared.
That's right.
Their roofs aren't fixed. They're inside their homes are not fixed. I like to call those storm chasers. The community really, every community that's hit by a hurricane needs to be very careful as to who they interact with and what they sign.
That's right.
There are certain contracts that look harmless, certain people that look like you can trust them, but you sign a contract that states, it's called an assignment of benefits, you suddenly lost all control over your claim. You now have someone else making those decisions for you as what to accept, and then they can still come after you if they don't get the full amount from the insurance company. So really be careful who you interact with after a storm. And do your due diligence, research the companies. If they're from out of state and they've only been here since the storm, that's a big warning sign. You should probably always look at maybe local companies, people who've been here for a very long time. If you can't get them out to the home and you have to go with someone else, that's fine, but proofread, read carefully the contract you're about to sign. Don't just blindly sign, don't blindly trust that someone isn't going to take advantage of you, because under these circumstances, after a storm, there are people who do take advantage.
We had it here. I mean, the county was out, patrolling the area because, they're not licensed, they're not getting a permit to fix stuff. So,
right. But even having their license sometimes
doesn't help.
Yeah, you need to really research, see what kind of complaints were filed against them, what kind of reputation they have, where they came from, and what they're making you sign.
How about the new hurricane that hit South Carolina and North Carolina? How's that going to affect us down here?
I'm sure, how it's going to, down here, I know for a fact that a lot of people who sign these contracts with these storm chasers are suddenly, the storm chasers have jumped ship. They're nowhere to be found, they're not answering phone calls, and it's most likely because they moved up to the Carolinas. That's what happens, and that's exactly why you need to be careful who you work with. I'm sure the Carolinas are going to face very similar issues with their insurance companies as we did here. Our community has a lot of very trusting people here.
That's right, we do.
And the insurance companies know that there's elderly people here. And I know that they had a strategy after Hurricane Irma. They knew they were going to lose a lot of money because Irma was huge. There was damage all the way from Jacksonville down to the Keys, and they knew they were going to have a lot of claims filed. And they had a strategy in order to save money. They're in the money-making business.
That's right.
And that strategy was, we're going to lowball this many, we're going to outright deny this many, and for some situations that worked for them, because not everyone's going to hire a lawyer, not everyone's going to fight back. And it's sad to see that when people accept that lowball offer, when they don't question, well, why is this not covered? Read your policy, know your policy. Don't just trust what you're being told. Talk to an expert and make sure that you're not, why have insurance if you're not going to be insured for anything? Why pay them and then not have any coverage? So, yeah.
Well, Lauren, I appreciate you coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
I just tell our viewers, if you have any problems with hurricane claims, we got the lady here to talk to, right?
Yeah, all you have to do is go to www.hurricanemoney.com, or you can call 239-360-IRMA.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week.